Hello and welcome back to LEGO City Undercover. This is Bio Enchanted, and today we have a little more exploring to do before we actually continue the story. Because there's a few things I want to show off in this area to show how the late game stuff flows, because it flows fairly well when you have all the costumes that can actually do stuff. I mean, when playing this game casually, you probably go up these routes and then get kind of stuck partway through, and then because you wouldn't have something you'd need to move on, but you didn't realize you'd need it, and that can be really frustrating in these kind of games where you're like, oh really, I need that, oh, kind of thing. It happens quite a lot in these kind of games, especially to me. So it's nice to be able to show off how these areas are supposed to flow when you have enough costumes to actually make going there worthwhile. Something interesting to notice with this, for example, where we're going over here, is this is going to be kind of a circular pattern we're taking around these rooftops to our, as you can tell, over to the right over here, which is where we're heading now. But at the moment, the circle's centre is in the middle of the road just ahead of us, because we'll be going ahead then left to complete that part of the circle. But then when we get that part done, the circle will then move. It'll keep going in kind of circuitous routes around the different higher and higher parts of these rooftops as we're advancing through it, and that's pretty interesting design. Because while it is the usual kind of spiral for when climbing buildings in this fashion, it's not quite Agency Tower's solid spiral from Crackdown, though. It's just like a single spiral going straight up. In this case, it's a very skewed spiral, still going higher and higher each lap at the rooftops, but in a way that feels different each time. And I quite like the way the game's put together in that way to make those kind of patterns kind of develop over time in a natural way. But it's like, okay, what can we do on this level? And then we was like, oh, now we can get to this level, and what can we do up here? Is basically how these areas tend to flow, and that works fairly well. The areas that require the most tricks are the ones right close to the bottom, like this, needing like almost all the costumes so far to even do anything with. And then as we go on, we'll just need more and more specific powers at more and more specific moments to keep the pattern going. Partially because it doesn't want you, probably because it's partially the game's way of making sure you at least have enough powers to make navigating these paths fun, even if you can't make it all the way to a thing that you're trying to get to. Though in our case, we have enough that we can do. And the fixed camera angles on the roofs can be kind of a mean trick at times, because, for example, in those particular kinds of roofs, like we just saw there, because sometimes they can, well, really once, they tend to hide things there occasionally in ways that are really hard to really know they're there. There's one particular thing I'm thinking of that you'll see when we're doing the post-game stuff, where it's just like, yeah, how would I even think to look there if I hadn't looked it up? But we'll get there when we get there. For now, we're on the second tier. As you saw, there was actually a pig, which marks kind of the end of this circuit that we're taking. So now the circle of the center of the circle has moved to the other side of this building, pretty much between here and the other side of the bank. So now the circle's kind of representing the middle of the bank. That's probably the wrong word, but you know what I mean. So we're still moving in this kind of circuitous pattern, but now it's a bit like the circle's a little bigger, so now we're going around those buildings over there now. But still going to come back to this building when it's all said and done. The way the pattern escalates is fairly interesting, because it's a similar but slightly bigger and slightly more skewed circle than the previous one. And those kind of circles always feel like navigation is at least getting you somewhere, even if it's just getting higher and higher up a level. Because it's kind of like a racetrack almost, where it's like you know you've at least made a circuit, as opposed to just going in a long line where you don't know where the finish line is. At least with these kind of circuits, you get an idea of what you're trying to reach, because you've seen it already from a different angle. You just need to figure out how to get up there. That super brick we'll come back for later. It's kind of mean putting it there, and yeah, these were red herring. These don't build anything. We are meant to follow the studs up to that rooftop. We'll do that later when we have the ability to do so. For now, here is the very top of these rooftops, and the final hurdle on the way to the end of this series of circuits. See, the circle moved 3 times, from the middle of that road to the middle of that far rooftop we just saw, to the middle of this set of rooftops. Keeping the circle moving, but still keeping a consistent feel for the actual motions you're making. So it doesn't feel like you're in a completely different area all of a sudden, because we're still in Cherry Tree Falls, for example, that hills, for example, that kind of stuff. And that's a fairly cheekily hidden thing. I often end up having to come all the way back for that one, but luckily we've got pretty much everything on that circuit that exists there. So that was a fairly well laid out area, because I had enough costumes to make it that way. Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the game that there's lots of I'd be ignoring till late game, and this is the reason why, because it keeps this kind of flow intact. There's nothing more frustrating than going to get one thing and then being locked out of it because, oh, I need that to get to that. Oh, really? I can see the next thing though. Yeah, it's a really frustrating feeling. So, we actually need to use this now on top of this train station I'd forgotten about until just now. And now we have the astronauts, we can get on top of the Ark. And fire. So that's that loose end finally tied up. And we're going to tie up a few other loose ends while here as well. For example, this police station, we've seen this staircase going up here, but never really did much with it. So let's finally see what's up here. Use the colour gun here, as we expected to. Once I've made sure I've not missed anything. We kind of need the firemen to get up here for a reason, but I didn't want to use them because, yeah, it would have been switching again, and that's kind of a pain. So. Break the flow once, or twice. And there we finally start building helipads, because we can now. If we come up here before when we first got the fireman suit... Oh yeah, that's why it gives you this fireman suit, so that because until the fireman suit you can't get up there because there's no reason to go up there, are there? Because it's not until after the fireman suit you actually get the ability to build helipads. So if you went up there beforehand, there would be nothing there to build. It would just be a waste of time. Now that I've got my thoughts back in order, let's return to this rooftop and see what's the other way. We did go this way before when I was showing you that hidden pad that's really hard to see. Now we're going to take the more obvious path. Which, as you can probably tell from the fact that this is more of a straight line, the more straightforward one, that requires much fewer things to navigate, this is also going to take us to this area's free run. You can kind of tell when something's going to be a free run circuit if it's basically just a big straight line with a bunch of free running blocks that you could have done at any point in the game up until now. Because all you really need for most of them is the free run. There's a few of them that require a few different tricks, and a few of them that some of the costumes later in the game make easier. But for the most part, it tends to be you can just get through it with Chase McCain's default as long as you've unlocked the thing. There's the pad we took last time. Now let's go this way and finally see what lies beyond. This area, there are a couple of things we can't actually finish right at the end of it, but I figured I'd come this way now to unlock the free run, so that we could just do those once we did it, if you know what I meant. We could go around the swimming pool, but we can also just do the more fun way, so let's do that. I quite like this little area of the going. You never go through the resting area, you only ever get around it. It feels kind of interesting in a fairly, we're not really supposed to be up here, but we're not really a member of this building kind of a way. And that's fairly neat. These can be really hard to hit, these poles as well, because the game doesn't navigate and cement you to them unless you're at the exact right height. And sure, pole to pole is much easier, but when you're first going to the first of those kind of poles, it can be a bit of a nightmare trying to actually grab the thing without falling right past it like an idiot. Sorry about that, pushing my microphone with my hand. In the middle of talking, so it's going to be annoying to try and deal with, but there you go. But there we are. But we won't take that little pad because I know where it leads to. It leads to the end of the free run course, but there's not really anything else there. So taking it now would just waste time. Instead, we can actually go to a different part of the map that we were at before, now that we can actually finish something off. Whoops. I like the tennis court, it's a very neat little set piece as well. If we go down here, we get back to this area, and if you recall, we did 3 of 4 of something. Now I have the fireman outfit, we can finally finish that off. So let's wrap up this loose end by hammering our way through this door, finally. That teased us so badly earlier in the game. Late game exploration can be so satisfying in these games for this very reason. So let's just remind myself of the actual route. There we go. I've got the basic idea, so let's head up there. Switch to the police outfit because of that little thing I showed you when we first got to the front of this area. And finally get to this final box. Build our final little satellite dish. And finally unlock this character token. It feels so good to be able to actually go back and do this. So once we've got this token, we'll actually listen to the flashing video so that we can just kind of remind ourselves of the actual plot. And also get the plot thing actually showing up on the map, because sometimes they don't actually spawn until you re-trigger them.
Okay, remind us. Blood boil! We do all the jobs, we take all the risks, but he treats us like monkeys and gives us,
Peanuts?
Chase? What did you hear?
Nothing. Except you mentioned Rex Fury.
Yeah, what does it matter? Yeah, that's the private buyer I've been working for, and he's just pushed me too far. Nobody gets away with treating the papalatos like this. We're gonna do a job just for us.
What you got in mind?
The biggest cheese in Lego City.
The von Stauffenberg cheddar truckle?
Not that kind of cheese. I mean Forrest Blackwell, property magnate, fridge magnate, and king of this city.
Forrest Blackwell?
I'll tell Mo to take the fireboat and meet you. Get moving.
Okay, Vinnie. I can't blow my cover yet. Oh, no. Not until I've arrested Rex.
One thing I quite like is that they managed to keep these characters, the villain characters, actually fairly threatening. It was just a little bit of a detour on the way to the manor here. So I can pick this up, because we have to go through this cross-down tunnel, so I figured I might as well grab this while I was here. Now we'll just move on. And we're also, Paradise Sands is where we need to actually be. We're just kind of skipping the actual transit there. So let's just build this that we neglected earlier. And actually make our way to where we actually need to be for this mission now, which is this beach in Paradise Sands. I quite like the way they still managed to keep a little bit of menace in the characters that make sense to have that kind of menace. It's just they've recontextualized it with some kind of childlike antics relating to things. But you can still imagine that the character in a different context, like in an actual crime movie, will probably be quite a nasty customer, because he has the right kind of edge to his voice, if you know what I mean. Like, he could be threatening someone with something really innocuous, but it still sounds like the kind of threat you'd see in an actual scene in Goodfellas, for example. Which is why those kind of jokes work so well in this, because all it really is a switch of the context and a change in the prop somewhere. For the most part, the characters are basically the same.
Hey, Chase!
I figured this tunnel would look fancier, seeing as Blackwell's so rich.
It ain't finished, is it? Blackwell lost interest in building stuff after the scandal.
Oh yeah? What was the deal with that?
What? Have you been on holiday for the last few years?
Not quite.
Blackwell was gonna build this massive apartment complex with a mall and everything up in Bluebell National Park. But then someone finds some sort of rare squirrel there, so City Hall stops him. By then, he'd already spent billions building Blackwell Bridge to connect the park to uptown.
That must have been embarrassing for him.
Oh yeah, he didn't take it kindly. Vowed he'd never build anything again.
Right.
Now, we gotta be quiet.
Something amusing to notice there is exactly who that squirrel is.
I'll wait here and
It's
keep
Derek.
the engine running. Get up there, get the stuff, and get back down.
Okay.
Well, at least it's the same species as Derek. Which is, like, fairly cute, the idea that not only is Derek the coolest squirrel in the modern day, he also is the one that previously stopped Blackwell making an enormous mistake at Bluebell National Park. It's almost like he's got this epic story running through the backstory of this entire scenario, pretty much, from Savior of the Park, just chilling out fishing and then mastering that, and then mastering acting as well. He's quite the Renaissance squirrel.
It's weirdly quiet around here. Maybe
I quite like that whenever a squirrel comes up, it
holiday.
is him. That's an amusing kind of running scenario. I do like to keep kind of escalating that. Like, first of all, he's just kind of nonchalantly fishing. Then you see him riding the fish after he's tamed it, after being eaten by it. And so then it escalates further for him actually, like, performing a play. And then escalates even further to him being the savior who defeated the Magnet, trying to turn his national park into a minimal apartment complex, whatever. It's kind of an amusing escalation in that kind of, and then kind of again very childlike way. And wow, that god was an idiot. But yeah, this level's interesting, infiltrating Blackwell Manor. They managed to do a lot of, like, they have a lot of sewer levels in this game, but at least they do manage to feel fairly distinct, and I'm okay with it for that reason. They feel very different to navigate, or they are still fairly basic, left to right, follow all the puzzles and do them kind of a thing. So it could have easily got boring. But the level design in these areas is always fairly tight. It's more the writing I have on with in certain levels that we'll see upcoming. There's one particular level I'm thinking of that you probably know if you played the game. We'll get to that in a few videos' time. But for now, these levels that we've seen so far aren't poorly written. They're actually fairly interesting and amusing jokes so far. It's just the game does let itself down occasionally, in my opinion. But I've banged that drum before, so let's figure out the actual spot to stand in to be able to build this. Because sometimes it can be a bit of a pain to find the exact... Because sometimes the game wants you to be within a very small sphere to be able to actually start the build. Otherwise it just won't pick up what you're trying to do. It won't pick up what you're putting down. Won't read your instructions. Whoops! That god tricked us. He died so hard it pushes into water. What a fool. He made a fool out of us, so... Yeah, these sections do go on a little longer than they should. By this point in the section, I'm kind of feeling, okay, we get it. We've solved the puzzles, can we please move on to the end of the sewer part and get to the actual interesting assets. This is one of the flaws this game sometimes has, is that sometimes these levels can have the more boring parts outstay their welcome, at least visually boring. When they could have focused more on the more interesting parts you see near the end of the levels, that kind of stuff. It feels like a pointless mechanism, but no, this is busy work, this puzzle. These doors may as well not even be there for how much use they really are. The gears could have easily just lifted the right hand thing and it would have changed nothing, it just would have stopped you going back to turn the crank again. But we're done with that puzzle now, so let's find our way up to the actual mansion from here. Luckily those guards showed us the way. Fortunately couldn't quite put him into water from here, but yeah, there you go. It's always fun when you manage to do it though. It always feels kind of funny to watch them like slide off to their own doom, because it's like, yeah, I've played a lot of games and that's happened to me a few times. It helps me it kind of feels like the characters are actually, funnily enough, more human, because they're making the kind of mistakes humans make playing LEGO games, like falling or sliding off a ledge because of misinterpreting how far across the edge you are, that kind of stuff. Wow, that sentence got garbled, but you know what I meant. Let's head up to the left first of all, because there's some stuff we can deal with over here. before we go down that little grate and finish this part of the level. This is me being an idiot and forgetting which outfit did what. Some of the outfits can have similar colour schemes, and that can throw you off a little sometimes. Like, if, for example, two different outfits have the same colour for their basics equipment. For example, like, say the fire axe being red and the crowbar being red, that kind of thing. We can see them both going across the same direction and think, ooh, am I on the right? No, I'm not. The astronaut's easiest to tell apart because it's just a big white thing. It's the bulkiest one. It's not the fireman in it. It and the fireman are the two bulkiest. The astronaut's close second. I don't know what I was thinking with that statement, but there we go. So let's head down here, and you gotta be kidding me. Okay. To the elevator it is then. That annoyed me. I forgot that was there. I knew we needed that for some point in this level, but I'd forgotten it was that exact door. So let's finally go around here and get that box that's been bugging us for a bit. Again, this level did go on a little long for this section of it, but at least it's practically over now. It's just, some of these levels don't give you much sequence breaking to do even when you have the cheats on. For example, even with the super color gun, I still would have had to go all that way around to get in there to get to the red brick thing anyway, because that's where the switch was.
Okay, Jace. Don't take anything too valuable. Just find something shut. If I was a secretive billionaire, where would I hide my vault? Oh, right.
Terrible hiding spot.
Chase.
This is more like it.
I'm trying to lead them away from you. Hurry up.
Okay, I'll grab the stuff and get out of here. Yeah, that won't attract more attention.
I like the design of this room because there's a lot of stuff to play with, and it makes it a fairly interesting room to explore because there's all sorts of objects in here, on cases and things, and the piano, and there's a lot of set dressing here. It feels very appropriately for the character rich. So let's just start by clearing the place out of all its little secrets and see what we can find here before we actually solve the puzzle properly. This piano kind of disappoints me because it doesn't really feel like you're really playing it. There's barely like half a chord, and then it just kind of gives you. If it at least played, if it interrupted the music to play something different, or maybe even play the piano rendition of this theme, it would have felt a lot more worthwhile. As it was, that piano secret felt kind of pointless. I like pianos in games, though. Even in bad ones, they've had interesting like ideas for piano set pieces. Like in the Unfortunate Events game on the PS2 that I played ages ago based on the movie, there's a thing with a piano that has a defect with it, where if you play at a certain frequency, it will completely collapse. So basically, the puzzle is the way music puzzle, basically like the button matching puzzle to actually break the piano, but each time you play it, the tune gets faster and faster, and it definitely does a good job feeling more and more frantic and like the piano's about to collapse because it'll start shaking quite sharply. So of course the joke in that entire situation is that the harmonics are off, so it just keeps building and building and building inside the case of the piano until it just explodes. Which is a funny idea. I mean, it was overall a bad game. But at least it had some interesting ideas like that. And of course the piano was named with VFD in some way. So why wouldn't it be? So let's finally get into this safe.
Only one. Open sesame! Or just open, if you have a nut allergy. Whoa. That looks like a lot of money. No wonder Vinnie's had his eye on this place.
You think someone as savvy as Blackwell would have a bank account, but there we go. I mean, he'd be getting interest. Just keeping all his money in a vault like an idiot.
Who are you?
Intruder escaping. Sentinels pursuing.
I have a visual. He's getting away.
Perfect. Here we go.
Sentinel 2, get after him. Go, go, go! Don't let him escape. Faster!
I like the Sentinels, they're pretty cool. And I quite like the whole, like, the way they swarm out of that, like, cockroaches coming out of the grate in a very great, like, Matrix parody kind of, for the multiple Smiths and stuff. And topped off with the bicycles, which is fairly amusing. It's a really good use of the whole generic character model thing, that's pretty good. Got some pretty neat vehicles there. And of course our usual full meter with effortlessness. We've actually broken 100 gold bricks, nice. Double digit, triple digits. I can't count digits. Time to escape.
Chase, I'm still trying to shake these guys off. Did you get out?
Yeah, but I've got company too.
Okay. Meet me at the south end of Promenade Gardens in downtown.
Right.
So let's get there, shall we? This bike's a little slow, but it handles well, so it's not too bad. And there really isn't much of an actual chase. You don't really have anything to avoid. It's mostly just use the bike to get where you need to get. But I do like the route takes you by Blackwell Tower and everything. It's a good kind of reminder of exactly who you just stole from. Or attempted to steal from, rather. Just a big giant obelisk that's like a monument to him. So here we are. We just need to get into that little building over there. Let's make our way on in. Yeah, from this point on, we'll pretty much be beelining from plot to plot, because this is about where things start getting a little more streamlined. Let's take down all these sentinels, there's a lot of them, which definitely does a good job of keeping things with the cutscene, with like just the sheer amount of guys there are, even if they are fairly easy to take down. It does a good job feeling suitably epic for this kind of fight, but of course I lose a bit too much health here, getting cocky, and wind up playing very conservatively for the rest of the fight. I like the way they don't just come into the front, like they swarm all over the buildings and everything like that. It's a fairly neat idea for keeping the kind of cockroachy nature of the way they've been moving up to that point by like, swarming at you and everything. And especially the fact that they're fairly easy to take down, it keeps that kind of insectoid feeling going. You're feeling like you're spotting an endless army of bees or something like that. But it's not quite endless because we are about ended now.
Mo, are you near Promenade Gardens yet?
I wish. These bozos had people waiting for me at the docks. So I ain't gonna be there anytime soon. Get to Vinnie's. I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. Not even just to yell at me.
That ain't usual, Chase.
I'll make sure he's okay.
Well, time to save Vinny. I'll see you next time as we take care of that. Goodbye.